right. Hey, everyone. Katie here with another Katie / Kathryn Horsley, an author extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Hi, Kathryn. I know you as Katie.
Yeah.
I do. I'm going to call you Katie.
That's okay. A lot of people call me Katie. Some people my publisher calls me Kat.
Oh, okay. I'm a cat, too. This is really confusing. No.
A coworker calls me Kate.
Kate?
And then I write as Kathryn, so you can call me about anything.
Do you ever get called Katie did?
Yes.
My grandmother called me that.
Yeah.
So tell me about your authoring. Is that a word?
Sure.
Okay. Tell me about your authoring.
So I write vampire novels. They're bloody and violent, and they have adult content, so they're not for kids, but they're real vampires. So, and they act like real vampires.
Okay, tell me what makes a real vampire.
So they have to have a bloodlust.
Okay.
They can't be eating on animals. That softens them too much
Gotcha.
for me. And they have to be kind of greedy and a little selfish.
Well, they've lived long enough that they're allowed to be, right?
Right. Well, they don't have a soul, so they don't have to worry about eternal repercussions. So why would they not?
So when you lose your soul, do you simultaneously lose your conscience?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but if you live forever and you're beautiful and immune to everything and you're always young, always strong, and you just get used to taking what you want. I mean, you murder people to stay alive, so you just sort of lose that humanity part.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about vampires.
Mm?
I just finished watching Being Human.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have you watched that one?
Did you watch the British or the U.S.?
The U.S.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, which one do you think's better?
I like the U.S. one better, but I think it's because I started that one first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I expected whenever I started watching the British one. And it's totally different vibe. I mean, they're British and U.S. versions are always completely different.
Yes. Well, okay, fun fact. Aidan Turner, yeah, I believe that's his name, plays Aidan Waite
Gorgeous.
in
Yes.
the UK version. Yes, and he also plays Poldark.
Oh, okay.
And then it's just funny that his name's Aidan. And then Sam Witwer plays Aidan Waite in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
He is beautiful.
I love him so much.
He is
And
beautiful.
everybody knows that already on the podcast. I mention him whenever I can. But so for him, that portrayal, he was eating animal blood in that one, right? To try to survive at some point.
I think he was. I can't remember exactly, but I don't think it was animal. I think it was like blood bags and
that's
stuff
right.
like that.
Yes, yeah. Which they were saying was less potent. But
Yes.
so then at the end of that series,
Mm-hmm.
Sally, spoilers, people, spoilers.
Sorry, yeah, cover your ears.
Sally sacrifices herself and gives basically her soul to him.
Yeah.
Do you like that take, or do you think that vampires should just be vampires and not have a soul?
Well, I liked it for what it was because they needed to end the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like they needed a closing for his character, which is immortal. So that's hard to close.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was good for the show. And I think it can work. It just depends on the storyline.
Yeah.
But, for a vampire,
That's the
if you're
best
gonna
you
make
could
a
get.
series, if you're going to make a series, he's going to have to be a vampire for a long time.
Yeah. 57,000 seasons following this one character.
Yes.
So in pop culture, or literature, in television and movies, who is your favorite vampire character, and or who do you think kind of mimics your character in your book?
Ooh, that's hard.
Yeah. We ask the tough questions here on Muggle with a Mic.
Ooh, I don't know. Let me think.
We can edit. Take as much time as you need.
Okay. That's tough. Let's see. It's got to be somebody very self-absorbed, but somehow you still love him.
Because we're going to go, Edward isn't.
No, he isn't. No.
None of them really are.
They're very soft kind of vampires.
Yeah.
And to me, that's Twilight. I liked Twilight. It's a good enough story. But it's a human story that involves vampires. I think I've talked to you about this before. But because the main character is human, and it's in first person, this is a human story that includes vampires. Whereas like mine is the vampires are the first person, so it's a vampire story.
Interesting.
There are humans and there are werewolves, but in Twilight the primary focus is on the human parts, like
Yeah.
how she's interpreting things that are happening and how she's experiencing and learning about vampires and interacting with them, and
How we
whereas-
would experience it,
Right.
basically,
But,
because we're not vampires.
correct. I'm not. But so it's a little different in those, and I feel like as a normal human, I feel like I'll get on another tangent in a minute, but as a normal human being, you're gonna, if you were to meet a vampire in real life and you're like, oh yeah, I think he's beautiful, I'm gonna be with him, he would need to be soft, because there is no logical reason to date him.
Yeah, it doesn't make those
not the way
puzzle
I write
pieces
them.
don't connect.
Yeah, not the way I write them.
No. How did your vampire become a vampire?
So he was attacked. So kind of like, do you remember the Lost Boys, where the human had to consume vampire blood to be turned?
Okay.
That's kind of what mine did. So he was force fed in an alley, and his fiance died.
Oh.
So it was pretty
That
brutal.
kind of sounds like Bruce Wayne meets vampirism in an alley.
And he was left there to
no.
turn and try to figure it out. On
So
his
why
own.
did they turn him and not his fiance?
Well, they talk about that in the books as they go.
Oh yeah, I gotta
so,
get the book.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the book called?
So it's called, the first one's called Windows of the Soulless. It's a Soulless series. And there will be 5. There are 3 currently. So
I remember you were writing the third.
Yeah.
We've worked together. we knew each other beforehand, but you were working on the third one when I was with you, and you gave me a what did you call it? A manuscript?
Oh, yeah, just like the
Little sneak
printed-
peek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not the whole
it's
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, which I have teaser chapters for book 4 with me today.
Ooh, fancy.
I don't have very many of them, so you'd have to get here quick.
First come, first serve, people. So how can people get your book?
So they are on Amazon. You can just search Kathryn Horsley, author, and it should take you right to the author part page on Amazon, and it has all the links to all 3 books on there.
Nice.
There's also a link to my blog on Amazon author page. The blog is like journal entries that the main character writes that take place outside of the books.
Oh,
So it's
that's
kinda
neat.
So,
You
kinda
feel
gives
like
you-
it's a real character, like a
Yeah.
real person.
and it gives you something to read in between publishing books.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Neato. Well, thank you, Kathryn, Katie, Kate, Kat,
Yes.
for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make sure you and you voted for candy
I did.
corn.
Candy corn. I'm sorry.
We have 3 votes for Tootsie Roll and 1 singular vote for candy corn.
Yes. Oh, you can buy these shirts too.
Oh,
we went
yeah.
the wrong way.
What do they say?
They say vampire butts and werewolf mutts.
So are there werewolves in your books?
There are.
Now, is it still like a feud?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's probably where
So-
the blood comes from, the
Yes.
gore. And
So, well, some of it. So in there are a few werewolves that are friends with the main character, but it's not very common to be friends.
Interesting.
So
You know, I will say there are no vampire stories where the protagonist is a werewolf and the antagonist. Usually it's the vampire at the forefront.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
more fun to write.
Well, yeah, they're prettier too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Were you Team Jacob or Team Edward?
Edward.
Well,
Even though, honestly, in real life, I would have wanted her, especially as a mom, I would have wanted her to go with Jacob for sure.
oh, yeah, yeah.
He's much safer.
Safer. No, okay, real quick.
And he's good to her.
I need to know your take on the imprinting.
Oh, that's weird. I can't handle it. That was weird.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
You know, the story for Jacob made so much sense until he imprinted on
Yeah, and I
the
thought it was
baby.
strange anyway because he sort of lost all his previous feelings for her when he imprinted, as though his own wolf self could predict she was going to have someone he wanted to imprint to. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You don't just have your child's spirit living in you the whole time. Like, that's not how that works.
Well, and
So why would he have
technically,
been attracted to her before he imprinted?
well, if we're
I
going to
don't
get into
understand.
technicalities, some of Renesmee's DNA is in Bella, because that's just how pregnancy works.
Right.
So why would he just completely not be
Well, I
attached to
mean,
her at all?
For that matter, why isn't he all attracted to Edward? I mean,
That's true.
Why didn't he have, like, if he had feelings for Bella because she was going to be her mom, why wouldn't he have feelings for Edward too? Because that's her dad. That's just it just leads to so many questions.
Whoa. I'm going to spend the rest of the day thinking about that.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. All right.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Kathryn.
Yes, thank
That's
you.
what we can do. Okay, Kathryn, we're back again here on the Jackson NPR station. I have quick questions for you. Oh, wait. We don't have the camera on. I don't know. I'm not a professional.
That's okay. No problem.
I don't know what I'm doing. All right, we're
It's okay.
back.
It's my first time. I don't know what's supposed to happen.
We good. No, we were talking about you writing, and I was saying I'm reading more. I want to know what the writing process is for you. First of all, what got you into writing, and then once you do start forming a story, where do you start? You start in the middle, the beginning, the end? How do you do your thing?
So everybody's different, but for me, I just think of it in my head, almost like it plays like a movie, and I just sort of run lines in my head, and then once I get probably about 2/3 of a storyline, I start, and I start with the beginning, and I work all the way through. And it comes to me as it comes to me, and I write it down. I talk to myself in the car, run lines.
That's so cool. So, like, do you wake up in the middle of the night and then, like, have a notepad next to your bed or anything like that?
Not in the middle of the night, but sometimes I do, before I fall asleep, I think of something good, and I have to text it to myself.
No, that's awesome. See, like, I would have a hard time organizing that in my head and then putting it into book form.
Yeah. And then I also use, like, a voice recorder in the car. So I can.
So you're like one of those people where it's like Michael Scott when he has a good idea and he has a tape recorder and you record it. A vampire, bloodlust, werewolves.
Yes. Yes. Sometimes it's just one line, and I'm like, oh, that's really good. I'm gonna have to find somewhere to put that.
So how long does it take you from start to finish to do a book? Like what is your normal time frame, or does it take you a while?
It takes me a while. The biggest problem is time.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids and a job, and I'm homeschooling one of them now.
Do they have a writing course they have to do?
Not yet. She's 7.
Hey, C-spot run.
Yeah. Well, she does a lot of reading, and we have done like 1-page writing things.
Yeah.
Like, half a page. But we haven't really delved into writing yet. But
that's
cool.
Cool.
So it takes me at least a year. This last one's taken several.
Yeah, but
I'm on the last chapter though, I swear.
Also, that's quality. We know that you're taking your time, and it's the thought process that takes that long. So I think it's really cool. I have thoughts in my head, like you said, like a movie thing.
Like a movie, yeah.
And I have thoughts, but I don't have the drive or ambition to actually put it on paper, or do I have the ability to put it in a good structure?
Well, you could. So, like, what really got me into writing, I was working on screenplays before. Of course, I didn't sell any. I didn't send them to anywhere to be sold, but
What kind of screenplays? Like,
all kinds. I have all kinds of screenplays. But mostly rom-joms.
Rom-joms.
But of all types. So
Any rom-coms?
no, but they all have elements of funny.
Okay.
But I would consider them more of a drama than a comedy.
Yeah.
So I was writing those. Those are very quick to write because there's not a lot of description. It's just dialogue back and forth, and then some cues for the director, like end scene, open scenes,
Pan, fade.
The scene description, things like that, where they are, stuff like that. Super fast, and it's easy to write, and that's what I was doing for a while, and that was how I was getting my stories out of my head. Because once they're out, that's it, they're gone. So
wow.
But I was doing that for a while, and then one day I was sitting on the porch, and my kids were swimming, and I was running lines in my head, and I said a paragraph, and I was like, oh, I really like that. I need to write that down. And it's the first paragraph in the first book, and I wrote it, and then I just kept going.
That's cool. So for that book, your thought was the very beginning.
Yeah.
Beat one.
I had
of
already
the story.
thought of some storyline for it.
Gotcha.
And it probably would have been a screenplay, but then I thought of the opening paragraph, so now it's a series.
Okay, so this is a good. Speaking of screenplays, so if this book series, for those that have read it, who would you cast as the main characters?
So I'm not sure exactly, because originally I had a person in mind, and now he's too old.
Who's that?
I don't even remember his name. He was gorgeous.
So check one.
So that worked. He had the right color hair. He was the right build, because the character isn't really big. He's kind of a small guy. He's toned, but he's not super tall. He's just moderately tall.
Yeah.
He's not over 6 foot. But he's kind of a little type guy. And if he had his shirt on, you wouldn't notice how muscular he is.
Okay.
He's not huge and bulging. It's not like he pumps iron. He doesn't have to work out. He's just always lean and
mean.
super strong.
Yeah.
But so I don't really know.
Jamie Dornan. No.
I don't know.
I mean, he did 50 Shades, so
Yeah,
I was just thinking.
I don't know. But my character,
Sam Witwer. No.
He doesn't have like the sharp jaw lines and stuff like that you usually hear.
Okay.
He seems very approachable, not dangerous at all.
Ooh.
And he's really charming.
So this is a don't judge a book by the cover in the opposite way that you'd think.
He's super charming, and people trust him.
Just because he's been around so long, he knows all the tricks.
He just looks like a nice guy. Gorgeous, nice person.
I'm going to read it.
Okay.
I'm reading it. And then I'll give you my cast of who I think would play.
Okay.
Who I would, yeah. I'm going to play the girl, whoever the girl is. I'm going to play the girl.
Well, she's in book 3. So there's a different girl in each book until book 3, and then she stays.
So he's a player.
Well, they all are until they're not.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so if you do get movie rights.
Yes.
I don't care. I look young for my age. I will play whoever you need me to.
If I get movie rights, I just want a stand-in cameo.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Well, Stephanie Meyer did one.
Yes, she did.
And then the author for Summer I Turned Pretty did one. They always
great.
do.
I think it's great when they do.
Yeah, give them a
really
little
nice.
part. I mean, you're the reason the story is existing, so you should have a part in it.
I think it's great when they do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I just had to ask you that about
one
writing.
thing interesting about my book, since we're talking about what they look like, my vampires do not change from their human form. Like, they will get fit, but because their body's metabolism and stuff. But if they were beautiful before, they're beautiful as a vampire. And if they were not, they are not. But vampires are pretty vain, so they usually only change pretty people.
Oh, so it's not an addition to becoming a vampire, just so that you can be pretty.
Mm-mm.
It's like you look the same. Oh,
but
I don't know if
they generally only change pretty people because they're
biased.
very vain.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Whew. So
So
are
you were
they
changed-
saying they didn't think his fiance was pretty enough?
No, there's a reason she died, which you find out.
Dum
later.
dum dum.
You'll find that out in 4, actually.
What? Oh, so are you writing that right now?
Yeah, I'm on the last chapter, so
And there's going to be 5.
there will be.
When can we expect 4 to be out?
I
mean, I know
I keep
you
giving
don't
it
have
a time, and then it passes. So I'm hoping to be done with it before Christmas, and then it has to go through editing. So
Okay. Well, that's good.
that's my new timeline.
So maybe next year sometime?
Yeah, hopefully the beginning of the year, like
Okay.
February, March-ish.
Also,
Hopefully.
do wooden crosses work?
Yeah, anything in his heart would work. So if you shot him,
Anything in his heart.
So basically, in mine, if you stop a vampire's heart, he's going to die.
Okay. Garlic?
It's different. It doesn't burn them or hurt them. It just blocks all their sense of smell, so they don't like it because that's one of their stronger smell senses. So it sort of they just stay away from it because then they can't
It makes
smell
them
people
less-
coming or anything like that.
It makes them less awesome.
Yes,
Sunlight.
definitely kills them.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that will definitely kill them.
Okay. Because like on Being Human, it hurts their eyes.
Yeah, no, this kills them. They're going to turn to ash.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm reading it. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I had to ask about
On
the
hindsight, though, on the
writing.
werewolves, if you stop their brain, you'll kill them. So if you shoot them in the head,
Okay. Anything? What is it? Silver.
Yeah, the silver will weaken them. If it's a high enough dose, it'll kill them.
Okay, so if they're shot with a silver bullet in the arm,
And they get it out, they're probably fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll weaken them.
Gotcha.
But they'll be fine.
Just like a human.
Yeah.
Anything in the head,
Yeah.
they're bye-bye.
Yeah, they're not as strong anyway, physically, but they have a lot more vulnerabilities.
Okay.
There are a lot more ways to die.
Interesting. Well, they're mortal.
Nicholas, the main character, he exploits all of those.
Ooh. I have to say, I like dogs better than I do like bats, so I am team werewolf.
Yeah.
But vampires are very appealing.
They are.
But they're terrible people.
They're terrible.
Terrible.
But that's why they make good characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not, it's a fictional world, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you have characters that act like you.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well read a biography. If you're reading, I'm not trying to knock it. I like biographies, but if I want to read about people, I might as well read about real people.
No, I hear you.
So.
I hear you. All right. Well, thank you, Kathryn.
All right. Thank you again.